Star Wars. My name is James, and
I'm Joseph.
I'm David.
And yeah, so this week, something really cool happened. But before we get started, do you want to go ahead and ask that question, like whether or not we should do the spoilers?
Yeah, I was kind of wondering, how does the audience feel about us talking about spoilers that leak during the week? Because I know we had like a whole bunch of pictures show up.
Yeah.
And in the past, I know we've kind of given spoiler alerts on the podcast, but how do you feel if we just freely talk about spoilers? I know a lot of people, there's a big segment out there that don't want to hear about stuff, want to go in totally not knowing anything into the film. So I just want to know, just send us an email, StarWarsStuffPodcast@gmail.com.
Yes.
Let us know.
Or comment
Yay or nay,
on the YouTube video as well if you want to hear, because there's even some like spoilers that you say that I don't want to hear, David, because I'm afraid like what's gonna happen when you tell me. But so yeah, as he said, this week we did get some pictures, some leaked set pictures from episode 9, and if y'all haven't seen them, go just type in leaked photos and you'll see them. They're there everywhere. Everybody was posting it all over the place on Instagram and everything.
Well, there's not like a million pictures to choose from either. There was about 7 or 8.
Yeah, there was a few of them, and a few of them were actually zoomed in, so they're like just like extra pictures. So
yeah.
So what was y'all's thoughts about those pictures? What did y'all think about those pictures?
Spoiler alert.
Spoiler alert. Let's just get into it. I mean, I don't think it's spoiler alert.
Well, let's talk about some like news though beforehand.
All right, so watch out. All right, so what news do we got?
So there's new casting news. Dominic Monaghan.
Oh yes, that is amazing. Okay, honest question: do you think he's actually going to have like a big part, or is he just going to be like there? You know what I mean? Like, is he actually going to have like a big important speaking part, or is he just going to be like a first order commander on deck? You know what I mean? Like, what's y'all's thought about it?
I think he's going to have a big part for being cast this late in the game. It feels like it's not going to be a huge role, but he might have some influence that we otherwise would not have gotten unless we casted someone like him. I mean, he's been in the Lord of the Rings. He was Merry.
I mean, I think he was my favorite Hobbit out of all of those.
Yeah, and he might play kind of that same type of role as Merry,
like a mischievous.
Yeah, not a huge role, but right. I mean, he's there. You know.
I see. Okay, what's your opinion?
I think he'll probably wind up playing a role of similar size to what Benicio played.
Okay, I see what
you're
you're saying.
I think he's going to be bigger than that.
You think he's going to be bigger than Benicio?
Yeah.
To me, it feels like that cast, because Benicio, when they said that he was cast, I was like, holy cow, that's amazing. But he's more of an ancillary character at the end of the day.
Yeah.
Like he's important to the plot, obviously, but man, for an actor of that caliber, it's not the biggest role for him, cast, for sure.
Considering he gave up Darth Maul. You know what I mean? Like that's what's crazy. So my opinion about him being cast is I don't think he's gonna be as big a character as we hope he's gonna be in this movie, because of the fact he was cast late in the game.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was just a role that they had written. Either, and I'm seriously thinking it's First Order, somebody in the First Order. They needed a character there, and he's probably just gonna be like there standing next to Hux for something. He'll say a couple of lines, then we're never gonna see him again. I think that's all that's gonna happen with him. That's just my opinion. I mean, because if he was an important character, he would have been announced with the main cast when they did announce the cast. That's just my.
Well, not necessarily. I mean, JJ could have had the shooting schedule where they're shooting for the cast that they already have, and then he was just kind of looking, and finally he just stopped on Dominic Monaghan, who he has a connection with because he was on Lost. So he was a producer on that, and I know personally from being a big fan of Lord of the Rings, he is a big Star Wars fan.
Awesome.
Very big Star Wars fan. So yeah, he mentions Star Wars every time they do any type of like bio interview with him.
I wonder if that's his way of like saying like, hey, if there's ever any future Star Wars movies.
I mean, that's if I was a famous human being, that every time anyone interviewed me for anything, I'd mention my love of Star Wars because eventually it's going to get out.
They'll be like,
I'll be a stormtrooper, I'll be a clone trooper, whatever you need me to be, I'll be there.
What if they do that to him? What if they just have him be like a stormtrooper?
Well,
like, you know what I mean? What if
Yeah,
that? What if that
I don't
happens?
think in this case, no. Maybe with like a Daniel Craig or Tom Hardy, but not with like Dominic Monaghan.
Yeah. We'll see though. I mean, y'all are probably 100% correct. Y'all are. But for me, I don't see him as being anyone big. I see him. We're gonna see him in the set, and then he's just gonna disappear. We're gonna be like, "Oh, okay, that was his." But y'all probably are right, though. He will have a big part in this thing.
See, I don't see him as a First Order guy. I see him as a resistance
guy,
and I see Kerry Russell more for First Order than anything.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah, I can see that.
I could see that too. I don't know why. I never even like figured like where she would be in the movie. You know what I mean? Like I want to be surprised with Kerry Russell because I have no idea. Like, I have no idea what she could be. She could be either one, and I'd be happy.
As soon as we see an ad, we're gonna know, obviously. But
they're probably gonna keep. I think they're gonna keep her a secret. Same as Dominic. They're gonna keep him a secret. I don't think we're gonna see anything until like close to the movie comes out. Then they'll release like the photos. Like, oh, there he is. So that was a pretty cool casting choice.
DJ wasn't in any of the ads.
Not in any. He was in the.
He was in like photos and like.
Yeah,
Empire magazine.
Yeah, but he wasn't in any of the.
A few of the TV spots closer to the movie coming out, they did show his face finally. Like they showed the scene where he's wearing the Imperial, like, like that was like the first time we saw him, which made everybody think, oh my gosh, he's in the Empire and blah 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 blah. First Order. He's in the First Order. Obviously, but yeah, so we'll see. That was pretty exciting news. What else happened? Oh, we found out. Yeah, what you got?
Yeah, the thing that kind of blew me away, and I was like, "What in the world?" is the fact that they said that Chewbacca shot a lot, like a majority of his scenes for Episode 9 on the Solo set.
Yes.
It's like, what? I couldn't believe that.
I couldn't believe that either. I didn't think the script was even done for 9 when they were filming, because they were filming those scenes like what, like.
Well, he turned the script in for 9 the day Last Jedi came out, didn't he?
Was it that, or did he have the pitch for?
I thought it was the script was turned into Disney the day The Last Jedi came out.
There was some like timing thing, yeah. I can't really remember actually.
But all I know is
the script was done a long time ago.
Yeah. Right. So, which means he was filming his stuff back in what, like October, November.
Yeah.
Like he was already filming all his stuff already. So my question is, were Daisy Ridley, John Boyega, were they all there as well, or was it just all strictly Chewbacca stuff?
I don't think so. I think it was just Chewbacca in the cockpit, and I don't know if they brought Billy D in or shot stuff with Mike Quinn as Neenum or.
Well, I heard the reasoning was because they didn't know whether or not Billy D. Williams was actually going to be in the movie. They didn't know whether or not he could do it. And now that since he was announced, since he could be in the movie, they're like, okay, now we got to get those scenes that we really wanted to do that we had to hold off on. Right. So that's what I hear is what those shots are, is him coming in just to fill in for those few scenes with Lando. So that means all his, because when did they start production again? August, what was that, 1st?
Yeah, 1st.
Yeah.
So he was done with everything already, like a week ago, pretty much.
Right, and then he had to cancel a con appearance. Yes. So that he could shoot more footage. Mm-hmm. And, I mean, you would think, they told him, yeah, you're done. You can do whatever you want now. And then they came back and said, no, you're not done.
Yeah.
So that, to me, I don't like the fact that we're not going to get as much Chewie as I was anticipating, it feels like. Unless they're just going to totally green screen a lot of stuff and comp in a lot of people if they decide to.
They could have shot a lot of his reactions to things without anybody else on the set. Mm-hmm. I mean, that's what most movies big do. Hollywood productions do.
And that
stuff where you're just like, oh, you know what I mean? And it's not like he's got a lot of talking lines. So
but I just like Chewie to be there.
No, I agree.
But I don't want him as set dressing, but I want him to be like there as the muscle,
Yeah,
I feel you.
I think we were envisioning him having a bit more of a storyline in this flick than the first two. Maybe.
Mm-hmm. And then you hear this news and you're like, but wait, did they not do that again? Did they Last Jedi him? Did they Force Awakens? He had more than he did. And the Last Jedi, they were just kind of like, he's there, but he's not really there. And they give him his big moment at the end, which was amazing. But then it's like, man, I want more Chewie, because Chewie's like, if you think about it, he's like the last. Oops, sorry, didn't mean to do that. He's like the last like main person now.
He's the last Wookiee.
He's the last Wookiee. Come on, man. And so yeah, I was a little sad too, thinking did they not film a lot of stuff with him, or did the stuff that he filmed with Solo was that like just mind blowing, space battles that he was doing already by himself, and like they're gonna be doing a lot of things in the Millennium Falcon. So I don't know.
What if a lot of his story is told through flashbacks?
Ah, man, are we gonna? Okay, so okay, I was gonna say, are they really gonna do these flashbacks in Episode 9? I mean, that's what everyone's kind of thinking. I mean,
that's my hope.
I think we're all hoping that they do that, but then it's gonna be kind of weird that they do that in a Star Wars movie. But then again, Rebels did it, and it worked. And I went back and watched that sequence last night with Rebels with Ezra. Ezra walking through the time, and it gave me chills. It was like, this is amazing. So yeah, so Chewie's gonna be filming more scenes with Lando, so there will be scenes with Lando and Chewie, which I'm glad they're gonna do that.
Chewbacca.
What?
It says Bacca, right, instead of Bacca. Chewbacca.
How you doing, Chewbacca?
He just says everybody's name wrong on purpose.
I think Billy D. Williams said everyone's name wrong, and they're like, it's okay. Yeah, that's canon. What other news did we get?
Yeah, that's canon.
What other news did we get this week?
I know Kilimi Reed Tran kind of gave us a response.
Yes.
And she actually confirmed that, she did leave because of the harassment. And I didn't think she was ever going to speak about it again or ever give us a confirmation. But because I was kind of wondering, maybe, she just quit because she just quit.
Yeah. No, I thought, but like the message that she put out was very empowering. I wish I had it prepared, but it was very.
It was incredible.
It was incredible. I was like, yeah. And then Mark Hamill's response to it was like, see, this is what I'm talking about. This lady is impressive.
Yeah, I had no idea her real name was Loanne.
I had no idea either.
Well, yeah, SAG does weird stuff with names. And
I'm glad she's like stepping up and saying, hey, not stepping up, but like just standing, putting her foot down. It's like, hey, this is why I did it, and y'all aren't going to see the last of me. And I was like, yes, thank you so much. So I'm looking forward to her. I mean, I was looking forward to her already. I loved her in Episode 8. A lot of people didn't like her in Episode 8, but I loved her in Episode 8. I thought she was fantastic in Episode 8. So I'm looking forward to her in 9.
Her acting performance is really good for this being like her first thing.
Yeah,
I was impressed. I was like, wow, she seems like a seasoned actress. So her performance didn't take me out at all.
No, I was on board. The moment she I was like I gasped when I saw her, because I remember she was at Celebration. They showed her picture, and I was like, oh, this is gonna be a cool character. And then she was on the cover of Vanity Fair. Did you hear what she said about Vanity Fair? Like, she was the first Asian woman to be on Vanity Fair in history, and I was like, that's incredible. That's amazing. I'm glad that's an awesome thing. Yeah. And then I saw her in Vanity Fair, and then the movie started, and then she was there, and I was like, oh, this is cool, man. I like her a lot.
Well, the moment you see her too is just so powerful, with her holding the necklace and sitting by herself and pretending like she's okay when she's so obviously not okay.
And then she like fangirls over John Boyega, Finn. I loved. I laughed so hard at that. He was like, "May the Force be with you." She's like, "Wow." I was like, "Oh, that's great," because that's what I would probably say. Like, wow, cool. You really said that. So, and then Hayden Christensen also spoke. He gave her praise for that and said, don't listen to the naysayers, don't listen to what everybody's saying, because he got a ton of backlash because of Anakin, because people didn't think that was what Anakin should have been, which we can have a whole podcast about that. I mean, because that's a whole other topic about what Anakin Skywalker should have been and what we did get. I mean, unless you want to talk about it now, but we can talk about it later. It's up to you, though.
It's up to me?
Yeah.
Joseph's out of it?
Joseph?
Actually, I'm good with that. That is your decision.
So what do you think?
No pressure, David.
No pressure, David.
Well, I was actually thinking about the events that happened today, and I know it's kind of tangential because I immediately thought about Celebration, because there was a mass shooting today in Jacksonville, Florida. I don't know if you guys heard of it.
No, I didn't hear about this.
There was a Madden tournament. And
at a Madden tournament?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Madden, two guys. There's video of two guys playing, and it's like a qualifying round in Jacksonville, Florida, at an outside area kind of mall complex. It's called Jacksonville Landing, and I woke up today to that, and I was like, wow. I mean, that's crazy. Another mass shooting. I think 4 people were confirmed dead.
Oh my
And
goodness.
11 were injured. But I mean, that just got me thinking. For some reason, Celebration popped into my head. I mean, it's like I hope there's adequate security, because when I went in 2015, security was so lax. I was getting in there without my badge. They weren't even looking at my badge. But in Orlando, it was way heavier.
Yeah,
I was very surprised in Orlando that it was so hardcore. But I think because there was more celebrities and stuff walking around, and Ryan Johnson was there, and thoughts and prayers go out to them.
Yes, very much.
But
yes.
yeah, it happened this morning.
That's terrible.
Yeah,
that's awful.
What does it have to do with Anakin Skywalker?
Nothing.
I
But
know that
was
makes me
just
sound heartless, but
yeah, that was just something that was on my mind, and I just wanted to kind of talk about it because it's, I mean, these big gatherings of people, and I know all the stuff that happens like in the south side of Chicago.
Yeah,
and we're gonna be there. I mean, we're gonna have to go through that area to get Celebration.
Well, it's crazy. I haven't been to Star Wars Celebration, but I've been to 2 WrestleManias where I basically just walked through the gates. Like there was no security. I mean, there was a security checkpoint where they, did you up and down with the metal detectors, but I saw many people just go around it, and that's there's millions of people there.
Right. Yeah.
So
I told y'all the story. I mean, I told you the story about when I went to Celebration and they did the metal wand.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't know what happened, but when the lady, she did the wand in the front, nothing happened. She went behind me, and right when she got to my behind, if you may, the alarm went off, and they gave me the weirdest look, and I started laughing. I was like, "What?" And she goes, "What are you hiding?" And I was like, "What are you talking about? Like,
where are you hiding?"
I was like, "Why?" And I was so like, there's people standing around, and I was like, "Oh my gosh!" So yeah, the security there. I mean, you told me like you got into Anaheim like no problem.
Yeah.
But at Florida, man, they had this. They had the metal detectors. They had the wands there. It was pretty intense there at Orlando. So I'm hoping, now hopefully they beef it up again in Chicago.
Right.
But,
and I got in. My buddy, he won VIP tickets to a Spurs game, and I went with him, and we went through the VIP entrance. And I always carry a knife on me, and I have a Swiss Army knife on my keychain. And we got to the gate, and I was like, I still have it on me. I didn't take it off. So I had my knife. I had my Swiss Army knife. And it got to the point where they're like, okay, put everything into your hands. Reach out. Let me wand you. So they wanded me. Didn't beep. And I got through. So I was in there with 2 knives. And we got to, like, get up close to the players. Like, I saw a couple players, like, if I was a nut, I mean...
Jeez, man. Wow.
So it's not that complicated. But hopefully that was just something that was on my mind. I wanted to talk about the security. But I'm pretty sure it's going to be like totally beefed up.
Yes,
for sure.
I think after today, sadly, I think after today they're going to beef it up because there's going to be so many people there. They're going to have to just keep everybody controlled in there. And how many people do you expect are going to be at Celebration this year?
Well, they haven't released the amount of tickets they've sold. They haven't released attendance. They haven't. I don't even think we've ever learned how many people attended Orlando or the last Anaheim con.
There was the rumor that it was like close to 8,000 or 9,000 were at Florida. That was like the number I kept hearing.
It seemed like a whole lot more than that.
It seemed like so much more
there
than that.
There were so many more people at Orlando compared to Anaheim. It was just nuts because at some points you were like almost like shoulder to shoulder.
Oh yeah,
with some people, and it got really, really thick, and everyone was kind of spreading out. Even though that convention center is so huge,
it was But the thing was the show floor, everything was together. Everything was so tight, packed in together that there was I forget what event it was. Oh, we were waiting to get the passes so we can pick up Thrawn, because I was gonna get Thrawn for you.
Yeah,
like, that was the whole thing. I gotta get Thrawn for Joseph. You can get the passes to get Thrawn, and the line like stretched all the way through, and like other vendors there were telling people, hey, you're in the way of my business. Y'all have to leave. And there was so many people just in one area to where I was like, it's not worth it. Let's get out of here. This is crazy. And yeah, there's a ton of people there. Yeah, I agree. It did feel like more than 9,000. It felt like
900,000.
Yeah,
it definitely felt more than 9,000. I'm assuming.
Yeah, it was ridiculous. It was ridiculous. And then apparently, the biggest convention center in the United States, they sold out in like 3 days, 2.5 days. Yeah. So, I mean, we don't know how many seats, how many people are going to be there. So hopefully the security's good and hopefully we can enjoy it.
Yeah, and the Friday single night passes just sold out this last week too.
Oh my gosh! I wonder.
So if you're gonna try and go to Celebration, if you don't have your tickets by now, it's maybe just Sunday.
Probably just not gonna happen.
Yeah, you're gonna have to either wait and just go on a day that you really don't want to.
And we'll go each day. We're going to be there each day. We're going to record. I think we'll even interview people while we're there, and we'll upload it onto our podcast platforms and on YouTube so people can see like what's happening and
how handsome we are.
And how handsome we really are in person. I know on YouTube it doesn't do us justice, but in person, forget about it. But what else happened? Did we want to do this Anakin Skywalker thing, or did you have something else you wanted to talk about?
We can do the Anakin Skywalker thing.
Okay.
What was the original question?
The original question was Anakin, did Hayden Christensen perform Anakin Skywalker perfectly the way it was written, or was it just awful and it should never be looked at in cinematic history? Like, people should just ignore the prequels 100% because of that performance. Like, how do you feel Hayden Christensen did?
My stance really hasn't changed on Hayden Christensen. I knew he had been in a couple of films that were really, really good. His acting performances were really, really good. And I really enjoyed Life as a House. That was the film right before Episode 2.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought he was going to knock it out of the park. But I don't think it was... I think it's a combination of him... I think he did as much as he probably could with the material and the directing. But, I mean, as far as casting, I think it was fine. I mean, it was just George Lucas, I think, as far as directing and his writing.
Yeah, I think
it's what determined what was the final product that we got on screen.
I think we're of a similar opinion there, because they had all of the tools to have, episode 2 and 3 just be phenomenal.
Mm-hmm.
You've got Ewan McGregor and Natalie Portman, both Oscar caliber actors. Mm-hmm. Hayden Christensen, who's not a bad actor. I'm going to be honest, all I've really seen him in is the prequels. Because I'd never heard of Life as a House before. You literally said it right now. You can see the seed of a good actor in there, but I think he was bogged down by a script that was subpar, especially in episode 2. And then a director who didn't know how to direct what he had in his head, if that makes any sense. I listened to a film podcast, not yours, unfortunately, but one of the... I mean, it is yours. I do listen to Sotex Cinephiles.
Yes. Thank you.
But every Monday.
Yes, look it up.
Listen to us first, and then Sotex Cinephiles.
Yes, that's the way it should go.
But where they say that the job of the director is to get the best performance out of their actors. That's literally the only job the director has, is to get their actors to perform.
I wouldn't say the only job.
It's the most important jobs.
Yeah.
And I think he failed at that. He's got 2 Oscar caliber talents and Hayden Christensen, who, I have a feeling if he works with the right director, could do an amazing performance. Mm-hmm. And it just doesn't hit. He was too focused on special effects and, changing the game in that demeanor, which he did. Episode 2 is got a lot of CGI in it. And it paved the way for stuff like Avatar and, some of the movies that we're seeing now with, the Marvel Universe, which is like 50 to 60 to 70% CG. Mm-hmm. But he didn't focus on the actors enough, in my opinion. He figured they got it. They're actors. They know what they're doing.
Well, I like to think of Lucas as a genius a lot of the time. I like to think of him as he did it for a purpose. And I kind of look at it thinking, okay, he wrote it this way. He made sure Hayden Christensen did that performance exactly like that for a reason. And so my whole thinking is, what was the reason behind it? And a lot of people can really delve into the character of Anakin Skywalker, what he's been through, when he, how he was taken away from his parents, from his mother when he was very young. He gets thrown into this world that he has no idea about, and he wants to go and save his mother. That's all that's on his mind. And so he is going to be kind of whiny. He is going to be kind of awkward because he's, I don't know, first half of his life was like this, and now the rest of his life is like this. And he's like, hey, I want to go see my mother. And they're like, you can't. You're done. All this other stuff. So, yeah, I can kind of see why he had to perform that way in a certain way. But at the same time, like I wasn't too crazy about it. But then back in my mind, I can kind of understand what George Lucas was going for with Anakin, and why a lot of people, and I can also understand why a lot of people didn't like it. Like that's not what they thought Anakin Skywalker should be. They thought Anakin Skywalker should just be this macho, strong guy, and just has like all the right things to say, and he's angry all the time. People are afraid of him, but instead you didn't get that really.
Yeah, he's a hero of the Clone Wars essentially. By the time Episode 3 rolls around, he's done nothing but good in the universe.
Exactly.
But he's got this dark layer underneath him. Actually, in Episode 2, it wasn't really the whining that irritated me so much. It's that love story that they have to get it out so that Luke and Leia exist. I get it. But it just doesn't work on any level whatsoever.
I mean, I don't know. What do you think?
Well, I think I already kind of said what I thought about it. But to me, I heard recently, I knew about this in the past, how close Leonardo DiCaprio was to playing that role.
Yeah.
And I initially understood it was he actually didn't make the cut, but someone was trying to say that he did make the cut, and he was asked to do it, and he just denied it. I mean, he just said, I'm not going to do it.
Gosh.
So he was really this close. But I mean, it seems like the legend just becomes bigger and bigger, and more inflated over time.
But then I heard ultimately it was George Lucas was like Hayden Christensen's Anakin Skywalker. Like he saw him and said, "This is my Anakin Skywalker."
Well, they could also, so genius or not, he also thought audiences everywhere were gonna love Jar Jar Binks. Mm-hmm. So I'm not saying he made a casting mistake with Hayden Christensen, because I think Hayden did the job that he could do with the director he was working with and the script he was working with. But I think George Lucas didn't read his audience right, and created what he wanted to see on the screen, if that makes any sense.
Well, but then that's a whole other like. Do you give the audience what they want, or do you tell the story that you wanted to tell?
Right.
That's
so
right. Ryan jumped to.
And so for me, the same argument with The Last Jedi, where a lot of people are like, "Well, that's not what I wanted to see," but Rian Johnson told his story. Mm-hmm. I think he told it pretty well.
He told it very well. Yes.
You think George Lucas's advice to Rian Johnson was do what you want?
I do. I could see him saying that exact.
I think his advice was tell the story you want and don't back away from it, because George Lucas ultimately had to back away from his plot. Right. And I go back and I look at the merchandise for Episode 1. I was even watching gameplay of the first Star Wars Episode 1 PlayStation video game, which was god awful. The graphics were terrible. It was just a really rushed out game that they wanted to get out there. And there's a lot of parts there where they're talking about Jar Jar, like where's Jar Jar? What happened to? And I was like, man, he put a lot of emphasis on Jar Jar for a reason. Like they poured like millions into that character for a reason. The movie came out and they hated him, and he completely just rewrote Jar Jar from then on. So my whole thinking is, what was Jar Jar originally? I know there's that whole theory where he was the Sith Lord the whole time. I don't think that's true. I think Jar Jar, there was actually a bigger purpose for Jar Jar that was supposed to happen that didn't happen ultimately. And I'm just amazed at the emphasis they put on him. Like when you watch the making of, if you ever see the Phantom Menace, they have that beautiful documentary about the making of that movie. And they have years before the movie even came out, they had a puppet of him already trying to figure out his movements. Like they were really working on him. Was it because of the visual effects they wanted to master and that's why he spent so much time on him? Or was it because there was a bigger story to Jar Jar that we never saw? I mean, we'll never know ultimately. Yeah. I mean, what was your opinion of like Jar Jar was this big character, and then the next time we see him, he's just this little guy? I mean, ultimately, he did give the Emperor his powers like that. I mean, he did do that. Groove. Yeah, he did give the Emperor his new groove. But no, Jar Jar was the one who did tell everybody, I think we should give emergency powers to the Chancellor. To the Chancellor, and that ended up kind of setting forth everything really. So you can kind of go that route, that's what was supposed to happen. But then if you really look, you notice Jar Jar in the second and third movie is just like nothing. So what was did you think there was more to Jar Jar than there was? Like there should have been more? Like what do y'all think?
For me, it feels kind of like, well, on the original trilogy, George Lucas was the director, the creator, but he had a lot of kind of just people also giving their own opinions and helping and telling them this didn't work, that didn't work. And then, of course, in the end, we find out that Marcia Lucas was very instrumental in cutting the film together. But on the prequels, there was not that same collaboration. He was like the emperor, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, it was, this is how we're going to do it. I did the original trilogy. Proof is there. I can make a great trilogy. And
then you had then you had Rick McCollum there going, yes.
It felt like there were a whole lot more yes men around him.
Yes.
Yeah.
You want some more money? I got some more money for you.
Here you keep doing it, keep going.
Because like we just said, you look at the cast. I mean, you have Natalie Portman, Hayden Christensen is coming off of acclaimed roles, and that's the love story you got.
Yeah, I mean, you've got Samuel L. Jackson, you've got Ewan McGregor. I mean, you've got a bang up cast.
And then you had Qui-Gon, and then you had Liam Neeson.
Right.
Liam Neeson was in a Star Wars movie. A lot of people think Liam Neeson just came out of nowhere with The Taken and all these other movies. No, man.
Qui-Gon way
no,
before.
He was Qui-Gon Jinn for me. And then I went back and then that's a crazy thing. If you look, he was in Schindler's List like before,
right.
So which means Schindler's List was this huge acclaimed film, this movie, and I think he was even nominated for an Oscar for that film. Yeah. And then when the cast was announced, Liam Neeson is our main character, of the new Star Wars movie. How crazy did people like react? Like, oh my gosh, that's an amazing cast. Yeah. And then the movie came out, and George Lucas told the story completely differently than what we thought was going to happen. So is it a mistake that he did it, or was he saying this is the movies I wanted to make? Like, I mean, that's the ultimate.
Yeah, what
question.
was his mindset?
Like, what was his mindset?
Was he just going to do what he wanted and he didn't care about what anyone said? Or was he actually thinking that Jar Jar was going to be beloved? I don't know. I mean,
that's just how it feels to me, at least, is that he was like, dude, people are going to eat this floppy-eared amphibian up, and the world just kind of revolted on him.
Yeah.
When's the last time you watched episode 1?
Probably in the last 6 months.
What about you? It's been years for me. I haven't seen episode 1 in a long time.
It's probably been years for me just to sit down and say, "Oh, I'm going to watch episode 1."
I think we should go back and maybe watch it again. Just like
but
after all
I will
these
say
years.
this.
Well, okay, what you got?
It is my favorite prequel.
Really?
It beats 2 and 3.
You're crazy. 3's way better.
Why?
I don't think.
Why?
Well, 3.
Why?
Well, to me, 3 should have been way better, but 3 was. It couldn't live up to the hype in my brain, you know?
There was no way.
Because I'd been growing up thinking about this duel, and it just didn't live up.
So from the duel between Obi-Wan and Anakin, did not live up.
No.
Yeah, remember I even said like it's
insane.
in my top 10 favorite moments of all time in Star Wars, but in the end, in my head, it was completely different than what we got.
Y'all are insane. Y'all are both insane.
You have to admit it was very, very stylized. It was very, very. It was so fast. There wasn't as much emotion going into a lot of it. Whereas opposed to when you see Adam Driver fighting Daisy Ridley there in Force Awakens, I was like, whoa, man! Like I can. That's what I love in a Star Wars fight when you just see like each swing is just boom, boom. Whereas in the prequels, the fights were great, but you can tell it was just like. Boom, boom, like each move had to be like here, 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 here. And you can tell it was really, really like kind of staged, if you may, which it was. But
I mean, they're all staged. they're not real life.
But I believe you though. I mean, I believe you. I agree with you though, where it was like it wasn't that fight wasn't what I thought it was.
It was really nice, but it wasn't what as grand because we were all This was the moment.
This was the biggest moment.
This is what we were all waiting for, and. Like that, the trailer they had where they're swinging and that one clash. Mm-hmm. It's like, oh my gosh, what else is gonna happen? No, that's it. That's all that happened. We get that little like swing on the rope. They hit lightsabers. Then it cut to something else. Then it came back and yeah.
But I read the novel because I was crazy. Before the movie came out, they had like a thick novel. Which, you think about it now, they do that. Oops, sorry guys. they release the novels like later. Now.
Yeah, they released them afterwards.
But before these movies, the prequels, they were like, here's the read it. And so I read the Last Jedi. That's the Revenge of the Sith novel, and in the book it was so fantastic how it cut from the Emperor and Yoda to Anakin and Obi-Wan, and I was like, my head exploded thinking, wow, this is this is what I always wanted to see. In the book, it made it so amazing and epic. I'm watching the movie, and I'm like, man, I really don't care about Yoda and Palpatine fighting right now, because I've seen Yoda already fight Dooku. And
to me, I was delighted when I saw that. I was like, "Wow, they're gonna do that."
No. I got pumped, but then as the fight went on, I was like, okay. And then the whole throwing the whole Senate and
that
all
was
that.
Weird.
That was okay.
That was
I
weird.
love that. I was into it. I wanted more of that. And then it ends like really quickly, and then Yoda's
just like, I quit.
I gotta go away.
I have to go into exile now.
But if you think about it, all that happened was Yoda. If Yoda had been just a few feet forward, he wouldn't have flipped over. He could have been able to like flip back, and then the fight could have continued. You know
right.
What I mean? But just because he was not where he should have been, and because he fell, I don't think that was a reason for him to be like, I lost.
Well, dang.
It's like, no, man, you could have kept going. But then with you know what else drives me crazy about that Anakin and Obi-Wan fight? There's that part where Anakin is choking Obi-Wan.
Padme.
No.
Oh, with his actual hand.
The lightsaber switches from Anakin's to Obi-Wan's, back to Anakin's, back to Obi-Wan. As they're going down like this, the lightsaber they have in their hand, it switches back and forth between both of them.
What do you mean it switches back and forth?
The continuity was wrong. They said on one
he's choking him and then he's got him.
No.
Down
They
like
said
this.
on one of the scenes when they did it, he had Obi-Wan's lightsaber.
Oh,
when they were doing
gotcha.
it, and then on another take,
the hilt was wrong.
And then he had Anakin's, his own lightsaber. So if
cut back,
if you really watch it, there's two different lightsabers he's holding in the same scene.
Yeah,
and it's like that's really.
Well, there's a scene similar to that in The Last Jedi, when Rey's fighting a Praetorian guard,
and the guy
had like a weapon,
and
he could have just stabbed her in the back and it just disappeared.
Yeah.
There was another something else that happened
mid swing too, right?
Yeah,
it's just gone all of a sudden.
He goes like this and it disappears.
The hand goes behind her back, and then when he brings the hand up, it's gone.
Yeah.
And someone asked, I think, Rian Johnson, and he's like, "Well, that would have been a kill shot."
Yeah,
I had to make it disappear.
There was another part in that fight where something happened magically, because if not, then they would have died. And it was one of those things where you're like, why did you let the fight go that far until you're watching it in editing and you're like, oops. He would have totally murdered her.
Dang it.
So just erase. Nobody's going to notice it, but sure enough, man, somebody zoomed in. And I remember watching that going, oh, man. It happens. It happens in movies, even in a Star Wars movie. I mean, look at all the mistakes in the first Star Wars movie that George Lucas erased.
There's no mistakes in that movie.
Other than the guy bumping his head on the top of the door. But...
So, should we get into those pictures we saw this week? Should we jump in?
I guess if you want to, unless anyone has anything else.
I think I
shaved.
Yes.
That's
my beard. I think we should go back.
What color lightsaber did you use?
Just an electric razor.
Damn.
It was a vibroblade.
I think we should go back and we should do a commentary on the prequels. I think we should. I think that should be our next couple of podcasts where we go back, rewatch the prequels, give our thoughts as the movie plays, and just I haven't seen these movies in a while. Like, I've been watching the original ones. I've been watching 7 and 8 and Rogue One, and I haven't really gone back and watched 1, 2, and 3. So I think maybe we should jump on that here pretty soon. What do y'all think? Y'all game?
Sounds good.
I'm down. Good. I'm always down to watch Star Wars.
Right? Isn't it great? So this week, should we hit the spoiler alert? Should we do it?
Yeah, hit it. Punch it, Chewie.
All right, here we go. All right, here we go. So this week, some photos were released of leaked photos from the set of Episode 9, and the photos were really like, I don't know whether they didn't tell us anything.
No, there was no plot.
There was nothing. Really there was so I don't know why we hit the alarm, but anyways, the alarm is there. So the photos showed Finn and Poe on a planet that we don't know, wearing different costumes now. Fairly different.
Almost looked like it could be like a Naboo hillside.
Yeah, that's what it looks like. Oh, and then like the grass is like over like run now because they haven't been there in years. I don't know. I mean, the grass was long.
Chancellor Palpatine took care of the upkeep of the.
So now that he's gone.
Now that he's gone, it just grows back up. You know how it goes. But
he ran a lawn care business on the side.
And then the other actress, there was another actress.
Naomi.
Yes,
Aoki.
she was there as well. And those pictures of her, there was a few ladies walking up this hill.
Right.
And everything was on this one hill. And then on the top of the hill was two horses. 2 horse wranglers. They were also wearing like Star Wars-esque costumes as well.
And the horses had like long hair, like banthas.
Like banthas, yeah. And if you look really closely, you can see like they're gonna digitally alter their faces.
Yeah, they had like orange tape. Yeah.
And then also chilling there, they had Chewie. He was just sitting in a chair.
He had his crossbow.
Yeah. And then that was it.
Bowcaster.
That was all there was to this picture. So whoever took this picture, from one, it didn't look like an iPhone picture. It looked like somebody had like a camera and they zoomed in crazy on this
telephoto
on this thing. What were your thoughts about it? And I'll tell you what I think, because I know y'all disagree with me 100%.
You told us what you think,
what
you thought. But I think they are legit. I don't think there's anything. I mean, they're just standard like spy photos, you know.
Yeah, I was kind of wigged out by the horses, because other than the stuff on their faces, they didn't look that unhorse-like to me. Yeah. Like they were just going to digitally alter.
Yeah, I think the face is going to make the difference. But,
but I just thought it was kind of interesting that it was
a horse.
Yeah. But yeah, other than that, I mean, it didn't tell a story, in my opinion. It was just pictures of people on a hill.
Yeah, some resistance.
Wearing weird clothes.
So this is where they disagree with me. I don't think any of it is real. I honestly think Abrams was messing with everybody that day. I think he saw people like camping out, and then he told a couple of the actors go to the other side of the hill, and that's where they're probably getting ready there, and the actors were probably just walking around, just talking this and that, and people were taking pictures because somewhere else in that same location was the actual filming going on with J.J. Abrams.
But see, on these productions, time is so precious, though. Do you think they would waste the time? Or say, oh, if you're on a break, go do that.
Okay, so here's my thing. Okay, so Abrams, when they were filming Mission Impossible 3, they were in Rome at the Vatican, right? And people knew, it leaked, Tom Cruise has got to be at the Vatican. He's got to be at Rome. And so many people got excited. So what did J.J. Abrams do? He was able to hire and get like another side production on another street. And there was women out there in bikinis walking around. And everybody was there watching that because they thought this had to deal with something with the movie. And plus, women in bikinis. Everyone's got to go and watch them.
Okay, so there's precedent for it.
But then on the other side of the street, they were filming Tom Cruise there at the Vatican doing all the stuff. And it was like, okay, Abrams has done this before. Abrams knows, like, okay, y'all think you're going to get something, but in reality, it's not really what you think it is. So I'm thinking, and plus, if you look at the photos, there's nothing happening. The camera crews are kind of just there, but there's really no like big cameras in the shot. It's just a couple of things there. So I'm thinking that is just like a preset, if you may. But on the other side of the hill was where the actual stuff they were filming was taking place at. I think if they were to go the other side, there you'll see J.J. Abrams, probably with Daisy Ridley, and the rest of the cast filming something else on the other side. And then they told Boyega and Oscar Isaac and Jonas, just stand up there and we'll make it look like we're filming something, but we need people to stay over here because they can't see what we're actually doing on the other side of the hill. So they're like, okay, yeah, sure. Well, so they just walked around and that was it.
Yeah, if I was JJ, I would mess with people's minds
and
so much.
Swear to God,
I'd stick Daisy Ridley in a black robe and give her a red lightsaber and have like phone pin. Yeah.
That's their name.
Finn and Poe, like
couple.
Yeah, that's their.
That's their
celebrity couple name.
Did I just coin that?
Yeah. Oh.
So just have them like choking each other.
Copyrights.
Like just like totally go like off the wall with that stuff. And yeah, that's what
have Chewie walking around with like one less arm, like it's behind his back, and everybody's like, "Oh my God, Chewie lost his arm!" Like, okay, I honestly think that's what those pictures are. The movie's gonna come out. It's gonna end. Then we're gonna be like, so where were those horses at? And Abrams is gonna be like, got you. Like
he's gonna be like, well, what horses?
What horses? Oh, those things. Yeah, somebody had them on the set. We're like, hey, just decorate them and put them up there on top of that hill. Because there was nothing happening in the scene. Like nothing was going on. But I will say this though, we did. Finn has blue pants on,
right?
Same as Han. Han has blue pants, and he actually has a red stripe also going down his pants as well. It's a different design, but there is a red stripe going down his pants as well there. So I thought, oh hey, he's like Lando. He likes to wear Han Solo's clothes when he's not there. So yeah, I thought that was pretty cool in the pictures. And then plus, like Joseph was saying, the horses. Like there's nothing that they can do to make us not be like they're riding horses.
Yeah.
Like Star Wars is way past that now. I think to where the banthas, yeah, elephants we could tell, but they haven't done that since then. They haven't like decorated an animal and been like, oh, this is one of those things in space that's not on Earth. It's like, no, that's a horse. Like, no, they're not going to do that. I don't think Abrams would do that.
I don't want to see a space horse.
I don't want to see. I mean, we got the space horses in
space dog horses
in Last Jedi, and they and those were like Star Wars-esque enough to where, hey, those are like our horses, but they're not because they're alien.
Right.
So that was cool. Whereas this, we're going to be like, Chewie's on a horse. Why is Chewie riding a horse? You know what I mean? Like, I don't know.
Why isn't he eating this
Why
horse?
isn't he eating the horse? It seems like something he would do. I don't buy it.
There's a rule in Star Wars films. You have to have someone riding a creature. Mm-hmm. There has to be a deep chasm. Mm-hmm. And someone has to say that classic line.
You got a bad feeling
So
about
let
this.
me get this straight. You have to have someone riding a creature in a deep chasm.
Yeah.
They're in a deep chasm area. They're on a hill where it's like you can't see. It's like a slope, and they're riding.
Not really a deep chasm.
I mean, for what we can see. I mean, we don't. And they have to ride something. It's almost like Abrams was like, "This is what we need in a Star Wars movie. I'm going to let them see this is what we're filming in a Star Wars movie." I swear to God, man, I bet you the movie's going to come out, and we're all going to be like, that jerk, man, he got us good. He got us good. There was no horse at all in that whole movie. But hey, I'm probably wrong. But just from looking at it, I think he's just messing with everybody.
I would mess with everyone.
Yeah.
If I was in charge.
Oh yeah,
I would let them take the pictures. We know they're out there.
Or like,
just get out there.
Or he would be like making a video on the set, and then behind him you see a Daisy really practicing with a red lightsaber, and then people are like, "Oh my God, you see the?" All
Daisy, put that away.
Yeah, he turns around and goes like this. Oh God, no wait, and then he like goes back.
There was another photo that leaked of the Falcon in in the forest setting, and it was like half built. Mm-hmm. So
that I buy. That I actually like. Seeing
return to Takodana or return to
wherever.
Endor.
I want them to go back to Naboo, man. I want to see Naboo.
I would love to see Naboo.
I think Naboo would, because that's where the Emperor was from, and then with everything that's happening now, it's like that's the only logical place for them to like go and research something.
Yeah, for me personally, there still feels like there's a disconnect between this trilogy
and the prequels.
Yes.
So very much so, and I think he's got to tie.
Even though we heard Luke say Darth Sidious, which kind of freaked me out.
And he also said the Jedi Council, like the Jedi stood around while Darth Sidious and blah 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 blah. Like that one scene made me go, oh man, cool. He knows what happened in the prequels. I was like, Luke watched the prequels. That's amazing. You know, that's all I thought about during that scene. I was like, that's pretty cool. But so yeah, hopefully they go. I want them to go back to Naboo. And I know we talked about how how many more films are we gonna go until we see another Gungan? Wouldn't that be crazy?
I think we're gonna get a Gungan in episode 9.
It'd be kind of cool to see like an old Jar Jar, like a boss nass fat old Jar Jar,
and watch, man. Jar Jar like ties everything together. Jar Jar is like
I don't think so.
And George is like, I told you he'd be big.
It's just that it's just a picture of thug life going on. George is just smiling like, I told you guys. But I think we may see Jar Jar in episode 9 as well. I swear to God, I think we're gonna see it. The more I think about it, the more I think about them going to Naboo, it's like they're gonna see Jar Jar, and everybody's just gonna go. Did you saw that one thing where it was like leaked video of episode 1, and like it's like the crawl goes up, the camera pans down, you see the desert, and you see the terrain there, and then when Finn's supposed to pop up, it's Jar Jar, Misa back, and you hear the theater go, boom, start yelling, and it's so funny. I'm pretty sure they won't do that, but that'd be pretty funny. So what else we got?
I think that's it.
I think that's it too. That was a fun podcast.
Well, I know last week you guys took a email from somebody that was asking about what extended universe novels to read.
Yes.
And I was not here last week because of work. Yeah.
How dare they, right?
Yeah, I know. They know I've got important things to do. I have to talk about Star Wars once a week at least.
Come on,
right?
guys.
So I just wrote down a couple of my favorite series real quick, just so that we could have whoever it was could have some sort of a jumping off point. So the Rogue Squadron series is very, very good. Focuses on Wedge Antilles, Tycho Selchu, Wes Jansen, and the whole Rogue Squadron group. Really good series. The last one actually came out right after, I believe, Disney purchased the Star Wars stuff. Not us, but so it started, I think, in the 90s and went all the way till 2014 or so.
And this takes place between
this takes place after the fall of the Emperor.
Okay.
And goes to what would be 7 and beyond. In that series, there's a book called I, Jedi, which I talked about one other time on the podcast.
Jedi on the internet?
No, it's called I, Jedi, and it's about Corran Horn, because remember you guys cracked up at his name, Corran Horn, and him kind of finding out about his legacy of Jedis in his family. He's a Corellian like Han is, and all sorts. It's interesting stuff. The Han Solo trilogy is really, really good. Kind of takes you through what the time frame Solo follows, more or less. A really young Han Solo all the way up until Episode 4.
Nice.
If you're looking for something that deals with the prequels, Star Wars Republic Commandos has a lot of the clone troopers and the commandos that aren't quite ARC troopers. Going through some really dark stuff in the middle of war, and they actually took a lot of the plot lines from the Republic Commandos and put them into the Clone Wars cartoon.
So it's canon.
It's not canon, but they stole from the Commandos books and made them.
That's not fair.
The comic or the cartoon, I should say, and of course, Shadows of the Empire is the ultimate EU book that everyone should read at some point in their lives. It's really, really good.
I own that book and I haven't read it yet. And a friend of mine, actually the girl who wrote us, Mary, she actually was like, "I'm reading it again." And I was like, "Oh my gosh!" I was like, "I haven't read it. I haven't read it yet." We got tons of emails this week from people telling us where they listen to us from and like what they're doing when they're listening to us. A lot of people driving, people working. One guy said he does when he's cooking dinner for his daughters. He's over there listening to our podcast, which is pretty. I'm like, that's pretty awesome. Somebody from England also emailed us saying, "Hey, I'm listening to y'all over here, so thank y'all very much."
Yeah, a couple people from the UK.
Yeah, the UK. Heck yeah, man. They're just a couple of miles away from us.
Just a few.
It's interesting to know that people from around the world are listening to a couple of Texan Star Wars fans.
Yeah.
But in the end, we're Star Wars fans. Like, that's all it is. We're good Star Wars fans, I think.
Yeah, one of them brought up the idea of Luke actually using, or what was the theory? Qui-Gon's green saber crystal in Return of the Jedi for Luke's saber.
Which makes sense.
Yeah, it makes a whole lot of sense, but I don't know if we're ever going to get resolution on that, because I know people have kind of talked about that before.
I mean, you could think that Lucas himself did that because of Qui-Gon's green lightsaber, and then Obi-Wan loses it. Obi-Wan calls it to him, and then when next time we see Obi-Wan, he has a different lightsaber. Like, what happened to Qui-Gon's? Like, did he just like hold on to it? And then Luke goes back to Tatooine, goes back to Obi-Wan's place, and he's like, "Holy crap! Like, this thing doesn't work, but the crystal inside is still alive." And that's what he uses.
Yeah, maybe at the George Lucas Q&A panel at Chicago Celebration, I'll ask that question.
Yes.
See what he says.
Or George Lucas, can you please answer us that question?
We know you're listening.
We know you're listening to George Lucas. Could you please answer it? Is that why you wrote Qui-Gon to have a green lightsaber? Because if that is, then you are awesome.
I know traditionally there's just really 3 colors. There's green, blue, and then there's red. And then Samuel L. Jackson asked if he could do purple. And then Lucas was put on the spot on camera, and he was like, "We could do purple."
Yeah.
Have you ever seen that? Did you see that new meme? It was the Emperor.
But then, of course, we have Ahsoka's white light.
Yeah, she has the white ones.
Yeah.
And I think Plo Koon had like an orange. She has like an orange lightsaber.
That was in the EU stuff. It's green.
Yeah.
In the new canon.
Man,
so they actually explain how the red lightsabers come to be in both the Ahsoka book, I believe, and in the comics.
Right.
Is that the Sith take a kyber crystal and they put it through so much stress that it's actually bleeding, and that's why it pops out red.
Right.
Because they bleed it. They bleed it out. They infuse it with the dark side.
Jeez.
Yeah, it's pretty epic. Which is why I believe Ahsoka's is white. If I'm not mistaken, she took one of the ones that was. She took an Inquisitor's kyber crystal out of his lightsaber, and then healed it more or less. And because she's not a Jedi, it didn't pick blue or green to turn into it. It stayed white because there is some sentience to the kyber crystals in the new canon.
That's pretty amazing.
Yeah.
I never knew that.
Yeah.
So then why did Mace Windu get a purple one? What did he do to
Jackson,
get a purple
why.
one? No, I was gonna say, did you see that meme where it's like the Emperor saying, "Have you ever heard the story of Darth Plagueis?" Have you ever heard the tale of Darth Plagueis the Wise or whatever? And then it's Samuel L. Jackson going, or Mace Windu saying, "Well, have you ever read Ezekiel 25:17?" I was like, "Oh my god, that would have been the best comeback ever." But yes, thank y'all for listening to our podcast, for watching our videos. Tune in next week. We have another awesome topic, and give us a comment. Let us know how we're doing. If you like us, I mean,
we're on all social media: Instagram, Twitter, Facebook.
Just look up Star Wars Stuff Podcast. You'll find us. We're gonna be there, and like up this video as well on YouTube, and subscribe. And thank you for listening. And may the Force be with you
Always.